Hello, everybody. Hope you guys are well. You can see me clearly. I hope. Let me get myself situated here. As is my custom, it's a beautiful Thursday morning. Are we winning? We're winning. Could you tell me in the comments below if you guys can hear me? I have to go through this every single day that I go live. Good morning, watching, somebody says. Got to put my headphones on. Want to see if I'm audible. I have a long sleeve shirt on today. Somebody tell me if I'm audible. Somebody tell me if you can hear me this morning. Great to be alive. Sound is great. Sound is good. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Let me just check my monitor here to make sure that we are on the same proverbial page. I've got my Rodecaster Pro here, and I need to suss this thing out, is what I need to do. There's nothing worse than jumping on a live and then all of a sudden you realize that you are not as clear as you once thought. Who wants that aggravation? Okay, I think we're good. Hey, everybody, thank you so much. Wherever you're watching me from this morning, I won't be long. I will keep this under 25 minutes, maybe 20 minutes. We'll see how it goes. Thank you, wherever you're watching me from, Louisiana, Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Bogota, Colombia, Ghost Town, Cape Town, South Africa. I constantly bring this up because I find this so amazing. There's a town, there's a territory in Cape Town called Ghost Town. There's another name for it. I think it's called Mitchell Plains. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is anybody watching us from Mitchell Plains, Cape Town, South Africa? Apparently, this territory is so notorious, it's so terrifying that the South African police, African authorities, are not allowed to go into Mitchell's Plain. It's like Chivolia. Although there's a place here in Lusaka, which is not too far from where I am now. It's called the Chivolia. The police go there, but they go there under a lot of strain. And so the first time I heard about Mitchell's Plain, Ghost Town, South Africa, boy, it put the fear of God in me. It did. There's a guy over there. I don't know his name because, you know, over there they call them Cape Coloreds, I think. Tell me, guys, and I hope I'm not being facetious. I'm not being abrasive. I want to say the politically correct thing. Is it okay to say Cape Colored? Is it offensive to colored people in South Africa to refer to them as Cape Coloreds? Because over here in Zambia, we say coloreds for mixed race people. And it's not offensive here. But I'm wondering, in South Africa, when you refer to someone as a Cape Colored, is that offensive or no? Tell me in the comments, for those of you that live in South Africa. And I've been to Cape Town, one of the most beautiful places in the entire world. I've been there. I love it over there. So I just need to read on there if that's politically correct to refer to people from Cape Town as Cape Coloreds. Somebody break that down for me. No? I'm not seeing any comments, guys. What's the deal? Are we good? Are we good? Okay. Well, hey guys, thank you so much. Let's get into this. There's something I really want to talk to you about that I think is important. And it's this here. I'm going to throw it up here real quick. If my mouse works, for goodness sake. Today we're talking about the voices of social media. And the question is, how do we handle the noise of social media? Now, within the Zambian context, there are basically four voices in our society. The first voice is, here it is, I'm going to throw it up here if my mouse works. The first voice is the party. The UPND deals with party matters. So, Abena Cornelius Muetwa and his group, they speak, when they speak on issues that pertain to the party, the UPND, the United Party for National Development, which won the elections last year and under the leadership of President Hakainde Hichilema. So that's the first voice in society. The second voice in the Zambian society is the presidential spokesperson. The presidential spokesperson speaks on behalf of the president. Okay, Anthony Wadia. When he speaks, he's basically the voice of the president. Thirdly, here it is, I'll throw it up there, is the Minister of Information. She deals with matters pertaining to the government. Okay? And then fourthly, and this is the most contentious, this is the most controversial voice, social media. Now, guys, it's important to understand that big media houses have a responsibility to disseminate accurate information. This is the reason the other day I cited Mwebantu. And I'm going to be talking about Mwebantu now for over the next several weeks, because I see the agenda. I see the trajectory. There are certain things that Mwebantu posts that think is funny, but it's not funny. When you have the most powerful, the loudest voice in the social media space within the circumference of Zambia, when you have a social media platform like Mwebantu that pushes the agenda of people like Andrew Ejimadu, there's cause for concern. Very, very big cause for concern. Why? Because here's the thing, guys. With great power comes great responsibility. A person that has 2 million people that watch you, every cough, everything they say has to be measured. It's like that old saying, what is measured is controlled. You can't just stand up and say whatever the hell you want, because it has ripple effects. It has far-reaching consequences. And so, as for example, Mwebantu, when Mwebantu gives a voice to a person that is hell-bent on dividing this country, that's dangerous. Why? Because with great power comes great responsibility. And I'm going to urge, and I'm going to call names here, because the young man that owns, yesterday I misspoke. I meant to say Kasonde. I said Musonda. Kasonde Mulenga is the young man that owns Mwebantu Page. A young man I've known for many years. Him and his father and I are friends. I know that family very well. They know my family very well. And Kasonde Mulenga has a very big responsibility to ensure that the voices he amplifies unify this nation, not divide it. Ooh, that's a good one. That's a good one. Let me say that again, because I think that's important. The voices that you amplify must unify this nation, not divide it. Never use a foreign voice to divide this country. Never. Winston Churchill once famously said that I never disdain my country on foreign soil. I can disdain my country on British soil. Winston Churchill, the British bulldog, the Prime Minister of Great Britain during the Second World War. He famously said, I will never disparage, I will never disdain, I will never speak evil of my country on foreign soil, because it's my country. I can criticize my country when I'm standing on my country's soil, but I can never leave my country and start disdaining. Of course, that's different from speaking against injustices. Okay? I mean, if your country has a government that is killing its people, brutalizing its people. That's different. I'm talking about disseminating false information. If you are deliberately disseminating false information, you are part of a clandestine group of people that are hell bent on trying to divide this nation. I'll give you an example. Here it is. This Andrew Ejimadu, who's a self-proclaimed, I'll get it right in a moment, self-proclaimed prophet. He's not a prophet. This man is a child molester. He's a crook. He's embezzled millions of kwaches from so many different Zambians. He was on social media and he claimed that his voice alone is able to split the party. In a sense, he was saying he's able to split this country. But his exact words were, I'm able to split the party. And then he says, who in the UPND is not talking to Sia One? Or Andrew Ejimadu is his name. I don't like calling him Sia One because that's not his name. That's something he claims. Just because he says it, it doesn't mean it's true. And the sad thing about this sort of information is that when he says it, many of you believe it. And then he says, I can split this nation in half. Well, as long as you give him a voice, especially on big media, big platform, such people can do tremendous damage. Why? Because Andrew's loyalty is not to Zambia. It's to himself. Zambians' loyalty is to Zambians. You must understand that. So I have to repeat, and I have to say this again. Big media houses, whoever you are, if you've got a voice, you've got a following, with great responsibility, with great power comes great responsibility. Okay? That's what I wanted to share with you. I'm going to let me see what you're saying here. 4 voices. Where then do you slot the critical role and functions of civil society's voice? Well, that's a good question. I mean, people have an opinion. They can express themselves, but they shouldn't do so at the expense of the country. Here's my point, guys. There's nothing wrong with providing checks and balances, as long as the checks and balances are factual. That's very difficult to do in the pool of social media, because social media is it's a circus. And just to keep it together on social media is a monumentous task. It's a monumental task. It's a huge, gargantuan, just to hold it together on social media, because social media is full of fluff. I mean, in America, they're dealing with something called deep fake. We don't even have deep fake in Zambia. You know what deep fake is? Deep fake is a computer system. It takes your face, takes your voice, your face, and it makes you say something that you didn't say. Deep fake. So it's just to hold it together is a mammoth task, and it takes concerted effort. But my point in today's broadcast is to really to share with you how much responsibility big media has, how much responsibility social media has in making sure that we disseminate correct information. Very important. Okay? All right. You're right, Mr. Moore. Foreigners should not interfere in the politics of Zambia. Well, what I'm saying is, when you have an element like Andrew Ejimadu, and I point him out because he is the most divisive element that has ever darkened the door of Zambia, the most divisive, but people don't see it. Andrew thinks that he ushered in the UPND. And I've always said he was just a voice amongst many other voices. He lent his voice to the struggle, just like Linda Kasonde. Linda Kasonde, a Zambian lawyer that stood up for this nation. Alice Rollins stood up for this nation. Zambians. The Pilato, they station. The youth, the Zambian youth that were led in part by Mubita Nawa and B Flow and so many. The young lady, so many youth. Andrew was just an added voice to the struggle, but he thinks that he alone ushered in a new dispensation. Not true. He simply lent his voice to the struggle. He lent his voice to the struggle. But we had patriotic Zambians in this country that loved this country so much that they risked all to speak up against tyranny, against brutality, against cadarism, against injustice, against lawlessness. Zambians did that. And also, I must tell you, and I will never stop saying this, Zambians decided. Zambians, you decided to stand in line and say, we don't want to go this way. We want to go a different path. You decided that. But Andrew convinces you that Jagaban of power, I made you do it. Do as I say, and all that fluff. That's just fluff, mate. That's nonsense. You are the captains of your destiny. You that are watching me now, whether you're from Solwezi, Mongo, you are the captains of the destiny of this nation. Don't allow some Nigerian chap called Andrew, who's not even known in his own country. Don't allow him to convince you that he's the be-all and end-all. He's not. This nation is in the hands of us, you and I. We chart the path, not some child molester who has a phone on and uses his Facebook page, and whom half of you fear. You fear him. Why? Because he's created this mysticism about himself. Remember the film The Wizard, and I'm going to close with this, The Wizard of Oz. If you've ever watched The Wizard of Oz, that describes Andrew Ejimadu to a T. And I always have to emphasize, the reason Andrew uses seer, whatever it is because he doesn't want you to trace him. But if you Google Andrew Ejimadu, Google will spit out so many injustices, so many crimes that Andrew Ejimadu has committed. But he hides under the title of Seer One to deceive you. We're not going to let him. We won't let him. Okay? All right. Okay, guys. Thanks a lot. Did you guys notice I've got a long sleeve shirt today? What do you think? Long sleeve shirt. What do you think? Yeah? All right. Love you guys. Thank you so much. Bye. Have a good day.